Okay, I hope we're live. I'm not seeing the video. I'm not seeing anyone. I'm not seeing anything. I should probably open it up on my phone as well. As usual, buenas, hello. I don't know if you can hear me because once again, I'm not sure if it's actually live. It says live over here, but let's see here. Okay, here I can see myself, but over here, can I finally see myself? Yes, I can. So, hi, good afternoon, buenas. Net Freak, fantastic. Let them roll. Thank you very much for being here. Hello, how's it going? Eddie, good afternoon, buenas. Remember, we also always say buenas when you want to say like good afternoon or even good morning or good night or good evening. Buenas. It's always fun to say. You can, of course, be more specific. But anyways, I did want to give the preliminary disclaimer for this stream. It could last anywhere between an hour to 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. You're free to enter and leave as you wish. Of course, if you want to ask any questions, I always read the chat and answer as many questions as I can. And if you're watching this on repeat, I don't think I set it up. Hold up, there's one thing that I don't know if I can set it up here. No, I wanted to see if I could set up the live chat replay because sometimes it seems the live chat replay disappears after the live stream, so you don't exactly see who said what comment. But I'll check it out later. Magic, buenas tardes, todo bien. Remember that you're gonna hear that a lot if you're over here in Ecuador, maybe even in Latin America in general. Todo bien, which is like everything's good, or all good. Out in the barn, good afternoon, buenas, hello. We got quite a few things to talk about. I did want to give that disclaimer though before we began because there's always, or not always, I do tend to see at least one person comment after the stream goes up as a normal video and saying it's too long, but live streams are meant to be long. Live streams at their shortest, from what I've seen for some people, are maybe 30 minutes. I mean, you could technically have a 10-minute live stream, but there's so many things that happen in a live stream that a 10-minute live stream feels like you don't really get the most out of it. Beyond Borders, buenas. Good afternoon, buenas. I hope everything is going well with everyone who is here today, and of course for everyone who joins on the live replay, on the VOD. I hope that it all goes well. We're going to talk a little bit about this other state of emergency. There's really not much to say in regards to the state of emergency in terms of there being another one. I think you guys know what I'm going to say, just based on the title and my reaction to it right now. But it's just something that we do have to mention. Buenas tardes, Destination Max. How's it going? I hope everything is going well. I'm always hopeful. We have a few things, like I said, to discuss. There's even, I didn't put it in the description of this live stream, but I also want to talk about the situation, comment situation. I'll just give a little bit of a heads up. I will say that I've noticed that there's a lot of comments that I get on my channel, but I'm busy at work from 7 in the morning until around, not even 7 in the morning, because I get there early because I don't like being late, like around 6:50, 6:40-ish, until sometimes 2. On certain days, I'm there until 4. There was even one day last week where I was there until 7 because of something that I was doing. I'll try to remember to talk about that in detail, but I've noticed that there are comments that I just haven't had time to reply to. It's not that I haven't wanted to, I just haven't had time to, so I apologize if I haven't responded to your comment and you're here. You can, of course, ask again, and I will reply in the chat, like I will give you the reply here. I also wanted to tell you about what I was doing, but I think I'll leave that for way after. So we'll leave that for after all this. And yeah, so there's a lot of things we have to talk about. Let me keep saying hello. Mr. Papicho, Pachanga, hello. I'm doing well, hermano. Like actually I've had some sad moments. I think I'm gonna leave that for an update on my community tab for my members. I would love to say it to everyone, like to tell you what's going on, but it's a little bit personal. There are some personal updates that I'll give at the end of the stream because I realize a lot of people come for the Ecuador info. So I want to give that first, and then afterwards talk about the rest, like the stuff that might be a little bit extra. But yeah, I'm surviving. I hope you're doing well, Papicho. Henry, hey there. Good afternoon to you too. Buenas. Genesis, hola. Buenas tardes. Qué bonito te queda el cabello corto. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much. Um, I think everyone noticed by now I got another haircut. I'm actually recording a video. A little bit of a spoiler. I'm recording a video detailing the things that I've done in this month that require an expense. So basically, it's a cost of living video. So you're gonna see a lot of things that, as an Ecuadorian, as a person, that I buy. So you're gonna get a little bit of an inside look into my life. Hello, Patricia. Well, first, saludos a ti, Genesis. Espero que todo esté bien. Patricia, hello. I don't know what the state, what the emergency is, but hopefully you can put on that Spider. You know what? Let's go put on the Spider-Man. No, I'm kidding. Is it the kind of emergency that Spidey is needed? Man, I wish we had. I think I talked about this before. The city that I live in, we used to have like a Batman, not Batman, but he was a person called Justiciero, which is the bringer of justice, I guess. And that was actually something that happened that I heard about when I got here to Ecuador, like to this city specifically. And my friends would tell me about that. Yeah, we have our own Batman, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Steven, hi, ¿cómo estás, hermano? For anyone who doesn't know Steven in the chat, he was actually here one day on stream. He had a really cool hat, and he's one of my football teammates. I normally train on Sundays, but I've just been too busy, and I don't want to fail you guys. Like I promised, I would have a live stream every 2 weeks. So today I'm live streaming. I was doing work earlier. I was preparing tests for the high school, los exámenes, as they call here, trimestrales, trimester tests. I was preparing that, responding some doubts of my students because they've been kind of worried because they have to give a presentation. I've just been mega busy. Lisa, buenas, Lisa. Ace, were you bitten by a radioactive banana spider? That's something that we'll have to talk about later, guys, about that situation. Just remember, you guys know, but no one else must know. All right, so let's get into it. Love you too, hermano. Se te quiere. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the things we have for today. First, I want to start off with this whole state of emergency situation, just because I feel the majority of the topic is something that I think everyone who's been on my streams, you guys know about this. You guys know that it's another state of emergency. In this case, we have, let me see, it would be this one, this scene. As you can see, we have the situation with the government failing to contain crime in 6 provinces. Specifically, it's so sad because it's the same thing as before. We have Guayas, Los Rios, Manabí, Orellana, Santa Elena, El Oro, and in the Camilo province, Camilo Ponce Enriquez Canton in Azuay. It's state of emergency again, basically permitting the military to be out on the streets and take action if anything is happening or if anything happens. And I will say, from my perspective, I haven't had a lot of contact with the military in the sense that I haven't seen them a lot. But every time I do see them, I am very happy that I do see them. Like the other day, I was just coincidentally, before I went to school, I had an inconvenience. My motorcycle tire was kind of flat. So I had to go to the gas station to fill it with air. And when I was on my way to the gas station, I actually saw the military and I was like, oh, thank goodness, they're actually making the rounds. But it's not like I see them every day, not like I see them at every moment. And I don't know if the ultimate solution, and this is the main conversation that I want to have. If the ultimate solution to this whole crime situation is to have the military just like strategically be set up in various parts of the city as kind of like, you can imagine as like a police, like the police, like when they're just like parked outside of a place on a street where something could happen, like have them on as many streets as possible. I don't know if by separating them, by dividing them, their power is weakened, if you want to say it like that, and it just makes it a little bit more dangerous for example, 3 military when there could be 5 criminals instead of having the whole military against 5 criminals. So it's like kind of hard for me to justify it. I don't see an end to everything that's happening, and that's what my conversation is about right now. It seems as though while the state of emergency, or while Daniel Noboa, the current president of Ecuador's plans have been in effect, yes, we've seen changes that you could say are positive changes for the society, for Ecuador in general. It's just so weird how every time you see the positive changes, like you see someone say, "Oh yeah, we have the military, they're taking action." Like you see the videos, and this is kind of what I hate about videos sometimes. And I know I'm a creator talking about that, but it's like the video shows you what it wants to show you, and it shows you a moment that doesn't exactly define the complete reality of the situation of especially something as big as a country. So there's a lot of videos that you see on even Daniel Noboa's personal Instagram page where he's taking action, where you see the military doing things. He signs these declarations, he signs different kinds of decrees, executive commands, whatever you want to call them. But then when you go out into the real world, it doesn't translate well. It doesn't translate to be exactly what you're seeing. So it just feels like marketing. And I remember last time that we had the live stream, we did talk about what Jan Topic said about that situation, that it's like stop listening to the TikToks and stop listening to the videos. And it does feel like that. Like if you just listen to TikToks, videos, social media, if you just follow the accounts and just see the good things that are being done, you forget that there are some things that are happening that they're not going to post because it's not convenient for them. And I talked about this. I remember telling everyone. I told stream, I told chat, or I think it was in a video. Who's going to market their country in a negative way if they want people to visit? No one's going to do that. And I know some people are going to say, but Ace, then why do you do it? Because I want to be realistic with everyone. I don't want anyone to come here with unrealistic expectations. You make a choice based on all the information you have, the realistic information you have. If you don't have that realistic information, then you don't have the complete amount of information to make an educated choice, a good choice. Anyways, there's a lot we can talk about on that end, but I just saw a comment. This is sad to hear. I'm considering living in Ecuador and want to plan a trip. I hope the government is able to contain and control these criminals, and of course that you and your family are safe. Henry, I really appreciate it. Thanks for looking out for me and my family. We are, for the most part, in security safe, because I don't, well, I know I'm not in any of these things. I know my parents aren't, but we never know if we know someone who's into these things. But like I said before, a lot of the crime happens when you're involved with someone who's who's related to drugs, who's related to cartels, who has some kind of link to the mafias. And at least from what I know, me and my family, we don't. But you never know. I might have a friend who just happens to be a person who one day he asked for a loan from some kind of mafia, from cartel, because I don't know, he had a situation, or she, and tomorrow he could be eating at my dad's business and the cartel decides to put a hit on him, and because he was there at my dad's business, everyone suffers. It's such an unfortunate thing because it's not something you can plan for. And that's why people are paranoid. People are afraid. I was having a conversation with someone that I know, and she was telling me that she's concerned because it's the same thing that most Ecuadorians are concerned about. You go out and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's so weird because you shouldn't have to worry about that. Before, our main concern was petty crime. You go out with your phone and yeah, someone could take your phone. But now it's like you go out and you could be someplace where someone who owes something to these criminals does something to those people and to the person, and you just happen to be there, and it's just it's annoying. Here in the city, I was reading some news about kidnappings, and I found out, and this is why I got in touch with my friend, with this other person that I was talking to who told me about this. But the person who got kidnapped was pregnant, and she was actually one of my students in the past. And I remember seeing her picture, and I'm like, I recognize this person, not completely because it's been like 6 years. Her face has changed, and she's pregnant. So it's like when I saw her picture and I noticed who she was, because I even asked some friends about it, I was like, oh my goodness, someone that I know has been kidnapped, and they still haven't been found. And in the kidnapping cases, even the how would you say this? The ex mayoral candidate for Puerto Viejo is also still kidnapped, and that happened at the end of last year apparently. And it's like it's crazy to me. um Beyond borders, as a citizen, do you have any honest hope that Manabi will become safe again in Puerto Viejo? Do I feel, the thing is, realistically, has Puerto Viejo ever really been safe, or has Manabi or has Ecuador really truly ever been safe? It's like I talked about before with the whole, what price did we have to pay for temporary peace? Like, were we actually ever safe, or were we just in like a treaty, like a pact with the criminals, so that we could imagine that everything was okay? You know, it's so hard to say. It's it's almost like I haven't lost hope, because I do feel like there are things that can be done, but there are things that go to the extreme. And Ecuador just doesn't feel like the kind of country that's willing to go to the extreme. Maybe if someone like Jan Topic is in power, maybe. But right now we're like doing things, and I like the way we're doing things, in the sense that we're taking it slow, we're trying to do things right. Because if we do things in a more forced way, yes, things will change faster, but it'll be so forced that people are just, it's not gonna feel normal. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels, it feels weird. We'll see what more we can say about this. Like, Puerto Viejo can probably go back to what it was before, where we could have not talk about kidnappings or hits, unlifing attempts. By the way, I remember seeing a comment of someone asking me why I say unlife. It's because YouTube suppresses things if they see words that are kind of big. Like, if you start saying that people were, you know, the R word, forced to do things against their will, if they were uh, assassinated, like, but you know, like speaking like, oh, like super exaggerated, YouTube can suppress videos, YouTube can make it so that no one else can see it. And then it just feels like YouTube's not covering up the news. It's just basically trying to avoid the situation with advertisers. And I hope this doesn't get my video in trouble by talking about why YouTube does these things. But YouTube suppresses things because advertisers don't like to see that. And it's okay. I understand, you're an advertiser. You don't want your happy product to be linked with dangerous and very severe crime. But, you know, anyways, Jamie or Jaime, Cruz, any recent stories of Americans being targeted for kidnappings? None that I've been able to see. I have not seen any recently. The only one that I saw was one that was posted as a comment, and this is important for later, by the way. Someone posted a comment in, I think, my previous video or stream. I haven't even got a chance to reply to it. But they said, "Thank you, GM, for always sharing honest comments. I feel bad for the citizens of Ecuador to have to put up with the bad conditions, such as road, crime, power outages. We live in Vilcabamba, and it's open season on older expats. My 75-year-old friend and her husband were robbed and tied up for over 10 hours. She was also repeatedly R-word, forced against their will, and S-word, also forced against their will. There were 7 men and 1 woman. This has been happening for several years, not days, years, and is now escalated. This is why I say that, like, it doesn't feel like something that's just like now Ecuador is dangerous. Now Puerto Viejo, Manabí, all of these places are dangerous. This has been happening for years. And there's just not a lot of people who are willing to come out and talk about it because people fear repercussions. I fear repercussions. Um, People are worried about what might happen. Even when you speak positively about a city, and that was another comment that I remember seeing on Reddit. Like, if I tell everyone, hey, Cuenca's super safe, you should move to Cuenca, then what's going to happen? A lot of people are going to move to Cuenca. So what are the criminals going to think? Oh, Cuenca has a whole bunch of people moving to Cuenca. Let's go rob them over there. So people don't want people just flooding to Cuenca and making it more unsafe. It's such an unfortunate thing, and every time I think about it, it's like it's tough, you know. I kind of just hope when I think about these things, when I talk about life over here, when I live my own life, that things just kind of don't get worse, because I realize hoping they get better. Like, yeah, I'll hope they get better, but like realistically, I talked about it in my video about the things that we have to put up with. I've been living with the same streets for these past 10 years, and it's like, if they can't manage the streets, how are they going to manage violent criminals? It just, it's crazy. Oh, and I missed the comment. Henry, keep it real for us, please. We're counting on you and would love to meet you when I do visit Ecuador. We want to be informed, so thank you for your videos. If you ever come down and you want to meet me, please let me know ahead of time. If you're not coming to the city that I'm in, it's kind of hard for me to meet you, because for me to get from my city to another city, unless it's Manta or a city that's really close by, it usually takes a long trip. And I don't know if I've talked about this on stream before, but I don't have good experiences being in a bus for prolonged periods of time because they don't make frequent stops. So sometimes I have to go to the bathroom, a bladder issue. Like, it's like, I don't know if it's anxiety, but like I have to go to the bathroom frequently. So it's like, if I'm on a bus and they're not willing to stop, like, and the bathroom in the bus isn't even open, like, it's really stressful for me. That's why the last time I went to a different city for a job, it was in Quito. The person flew me out to Quito to make it a more seamless and convenient experience for me and also for them, because they needed it to be done instantly. Like, everything had to be fast. So it was like that, and I was able to go to Quito. And in that same way, I do. Hello, Lewis. Oh, you do meet and greets? I don't generally like say that I'm gonna do a meet and greet. I have wanted to. I talked to my good buddy Don about this before. I want to organize a day where we get together with the community, anyone who's over here, and we just like, we hang out. Maybe we all like grab like some coffee, grab something to eat. Maybe I make a recommendation. We should eat this, and we eat at this place. Um, I don't know. We can do something cool like that. It's just tough because I also think about the reality of my channel, and it's not like I'm a 10,000, 100,000 subscriber channel. So for me to organize an event like that and say, oh, I think 100 people are going to show up, and then no one shows up, it would be kind of demoralizing and sad to organize something like that just to have no one go. And I don't think that's what would happen. It's just it's the thought of that happening that makes me kind of sad. So it also limits me. And also with the situation, if I organize something like that, we would have to go someplace where I feel we would all be safe. So we'd probably go to a mall or something like that. But yeah. Anyways, going on. Papicho, for the 4th of July in Chicago, we had like 60 people shot, 12 of them die. What's the murder rate in Guayaquil? First, may they rest in peace. The murder rate in Guayaquil, I'd have to look that up, to be honest. If we look through what it says here in the information, For example, in Manabí, the province to which the security block moved, 315 intentional homicides have been registered from March 1st to June 19th, and an increase of 16.3% compared to last year. And that's considering we have the military out here now. And here are the numbers for Guayaquil, while in Guayas, 864 people have died as a result of these attacks. And this is another part of the conversation that I talked about. Ecuador suffers from these events despite measures by the transitional executive, such as the increase in VAT, which is what I complained about. I'm using complained very loosely because I don't feel like I actually complained. But I do think it's kind of the thought on everyone's mind. Why do we have a VAT, EVA increase of 15% to supposedly make things better, to strengthen the armed forces, and we're still having problems with crime? Realistically, I go back to my idea that we're not going to solve crime this year. It's going to take a while to solve crime, to be honest. It's going to be something that the way to resolve it is either not have importation, like not be a strategic import location, which you can't just pick up and move Ecuador, unfortunately. Complete restructuring of the system within Ecuador. Like literally, imagine Ecuador is like in Minecraft. It's literally like a whole area that you just blow up and you reconstruct. That's not going to happen. What is built, no one is going to want to let go of. It's history, and I understand. Or we can go the extreme route and we can become like El Salvador. And if we have someone like El Salvador's president, maybe Jan Topic could be the option. I'm not saying he is, I'm saying he could be. And he completely decides, you know what? Forget this. We're restructuring everything, and boom, he does it that way. Things could change. But there's no guarantee. There really is no guarantee. Let's see here. Beyond Borders, I feel it was still safe in comparison, regardless of why it's not safe now. Yeah, I saw your comment. I just realized it sounded heartless. I sounded heartless, but no, don't worry. I get what you're saying. You can make comparisons and say that, obviously, because it's the same country. When you compare it with other countries, that's where I feel kind of weird about it, because it's like, this is Ecuador, and this is, I think we're trying to understand what the situation here is. I know that it's good to see it from your perspective. Like, if I lived in, let's just say, Germany, and I were talking about Ecuador, yeah, I would make comparisons between Germany and Ecuador to see if it's worth going to Ecuador or talking or like doing something with Ecuador. But it's also like, for me being here, my only comparison is with myself, like with what I've seen today versus what I might see tomorrow or what I saw yesterday. And realistically, what you're saying, Beyond Borders, is true. Before, it felt a little bit safer. I still felt uncomfortable going out with my phone in hand, and I was not going to do it. I would have it tucked away in my pocket. But at least you didn't have to worry about such violent crime, not at the rate that it is now. Although I still remember the incident with the taxi driver who was unlifed because they didn't want to get robbed in their taxi. And it was a sad video that went around, I think 2017, maybe 2018. But yeah. Destination Max, yes, femicide is awful and sometimes the most brutal. I feel so terrible when I see these things because it's just not fair. Like, I think people escape the life that they live in a different country, suppose United States, suppose someplace maybe dangerous like Ukraine, which is going through war. Like, people leave those places to come to something better. And yeah, maybe this is better, but to still run into situations like that, it's unfortunate. Lewis, man, sounds like it's worsening out there. Is it just too much of a wealth disparity causing a lot of this crime? I've talked about the roots of why this crime happens, and wealth definitely has something to do with it. Someone who has money, yeah, they might be corrupt, but they're not gonna most of the time like have to go into killing, unlifing people. It's just not something that I see like happening in that situation. A lot of the people who are typically criminals. That's why you know where they live, because you could say that's technically the ghetto over here. Like I always talk about the street over here in where I live in, which is called San Pablo, and everyone knows that that's where all the criminals are, and it's known for that because it's kind of like a poor area, and it's just you don't walk through there because you know that you're going to put yourself in danger. So there's a big disparity in wealth, but I don't know how to fix it because I mentioned this in a video, and I think someone took it kind of like in a funny way because they even commented like, how does that work? That the rich stay rich and keep the people poor. And I just always feel like that's normal in the sense that in any country, if you have money, you want people who are going to work for cheap. So you try to pay them the least amount possible in order for them to work for you. I don't think it's right. I just realize that it's normal because people always want to save as much as they can. If I were working with people, I would want them to feel comfortable so that they don't feel like leaving. And by paying them a poor wage, it just feels like they're going to want to leave. But that's what people do. So, or is it cartels from other countries coming in making it worse? Yeah, the cartels make it worse. But internally, if there's no cartels, people are going to still look to petty crime. Like, once again, I put the example of the phones because that used to be the most common thing. If I go out on the street and I walk around and I'm like on my phone, I'm probably going to get it robbed because that's the easiest thing to take from me and just sell for a couple bucks. And since people's living conditions are so bad, they look for things that make them feel better. And typically, what do people do to make them feel better? They either drink excessively or they do substances. And I realize not everyone does substances because they feel bad, but typically what you hear about the most is that people do these substances in order to feel better. I much respect to the people who do them just because it's just a way to, chill. And it's still better than smoking normal cigarettes, from what I understand. I just wish that everyone did them in a responsible way, like not to get rid of the problems in life, but to just have a moment where they can like relax, because I do realize these things are relaxing for some people. So yeah, uh, Patricia, there needs to be a lot more publicity about the home invasions around Vilcabamba, apparently, because when I saw that comment and Vilcabamba, like I've seen the videos from Jolie Farms, like Vilcabamba does not look like a bad place, but I feel like either Vilcabamba is just something completely different from what I see in their videos, or there's a lot of things that are being covered up, and I just don't think that's right either. I don't know if they're being covered up for the sake of tourism, which is once again why I talk about these things, because I don't want to be a good country on paper. I want to be a good country or be realistic about the kind of country I am, and then let people make a choice based on that. So, doesn't sound like Novoa accomplished anything if the same places are still dangerous. The safer places didn't need the military or the state of emergency. That's why sometimes I feel like I've seen the videos of like military in different cities. Like um, let's assume you see the military in Quito, but Quito, in comparison to Puerto Viejo, is much safer. Maybe because of the size of the city. Maybe I'm just looking at it as, and I'm making an incorrect assumption. Like maybe I'm just seeing the pretty parts of Quito, and I'm not seeing the parts where Quito is also kind of dangerous. Did that thing just do a thumbs up? Huh. Well, maybe I'm just not looking at everything. Let's see here. Victoria, I lived just outside of Manta in Santa Marianita, where I felt safe, but recently an expat was killed during the robbery at one beach cabinas. I'm glad I moved back to the US. I think that was a story that happened like about a month ago, maybe, or maybe two at this point, about the person who defended themselves. I'm not sure if that's the one that you're talking about, but that was very unfortunate. I hate the idea that you can't defend yourself here, but at the same time, there shouldn't be a need for you to defend yourself. I don't know if that's the infinite, like a paradox. Um, do you need guns to protect yourself, or do you not need to defend yourself, and that's why you don't need guns? because I feel like that's like the argument we have, not just here, but even in the States. Like, you have guns, you can use guns in the States, but like, would you even need the guns if there were never any violence? But vice versa, if you didn't have the guns, would violence go up? It's it's a situation that always has me in push or pull, because I look at both sides. I never just look at it like, oh, you don't need guns because people shouldn't be violent in the first place. That's unreal. That's unrealistic, and vice versa. And vice versa. I'm not saying that oh, you don't need guns, um, or you need guns because people are violent. Like, I'm not looking at it in that way. I'm looking at it as more like a general thing. Like, both sides have their reason, and I understand why they have their reasons. I don't know. It feels like it would be good for like cities to have their own like no gun zone in the States. Like, this area guaranteed you don't have weapons. I don't know if that would be possible. Maybe a small community does that. Um, but yeah, let's keep going. Be on board. I was comparing what you said about whether you were safe or just delusion or of. Oh, okay. All right. Patricia, wealth disparity can cause someone to steal or rob, but there's no excuse for. No, that I'm not even excusing the other things. I talked about this before, and I think my friend is gonna. Well, in the video that I still haven't finished editing, I think she talks about it, or I don't remember if that was a different video, but my friend has talked about this before. She has parents who lived in the poorest conditions. They have 10, like 12 children, something like that. They had terrible living conditions growing up, but they never resorted to robbing. And that's considering they had friends who were criminals. And it's like they never went down that path. It really says a lot about who you are as a person when you, even given the option or having the circumstances, you still choose to do the right thing, which is work hard and get ahead, whatever way you know how. Continuing, that's how capitalism works. We have some things to talk about. I don't know if I want to say capitalistic things, but we have some things to talk about later on. Let me really quick before we continue. I did want to talk about this whole the protests, which is the typical paros, which at this point just seem to be something that happens every time there's a protest. It's because there's an increase in gas. And I understand it because I've talked about it before. When you increase gas, you kind of increase everything because everything requires transportation. And in order to transport things, you need gasoline. So everything just goes up in price. And unfortunately, the people who feel it the most are the people with the lowest salaries, and not really the people who are earning over $1,000, $2,000 a month. It's more us who earn $500 to $600 a month, maybe a little bit more, but that's because we work more than one job. Going back to the comments, Netfreak, Victoria Connors, sad for the gringo and his or her families. Sad also that you had to hit the road back home. This crime increase will damage tourism in Ecuador. That reminds me of another comment that I saw. It was a good comment, actually, and like, I understand it. What I talk about might give people the idea to not come here anymore. And that's unfortunate. And there are a lot of positive things that I still have to talk about, of course, because there are good reasons to come here too. But I can't just cover up the bad reasons and just talk about the good reasons. That's why I talk about it. But I do promise that as soon as I have the time to edit a video, I will make a video talking about the good things. More than anything, I think this cost of living video that I'm going to be making in the process of this month is going to be something positive, because once you see it, like, you're going to see that there's not a lot of like it's not expensive, and that's going to be a positive thing for a lot of people. But yeah, let's keep going. Tom, how come you ended up living in the US? I have a lot of friends here in Canada who came from Ecuador on a college scholarship started by Korea. None of them want to go back home with the violence. I think even without the violence, a lot of people don't want to go back home because of like, how poor you're paid for what you do. Like, everyone that I know that goes to the States or to Canada or a different country, they're not so much concerned about the crime. Yeah, of course, they hear about it and they say that sucks. But they're like, if I'm going to work, for example, if I work here, like if assume this were the situation, if I were an engineer, which I'm not, and I went to work in the States, my salary would be thousands of dollars, like crazy amounts of money. I can't say how much it actually earns, but let's just say it would be thousands of dollars. And then if I come back to work over here with the same degree, the same amount of work, the same thing, I would probably earn 800 to maybe $1,200. If I had a connection, yeah, maybe I could go up to more, but most of the time that wouldn't be the case for a normal, honest, hardworking person. So it's like for someone who's living in a country where they're earning thousands, why would they come back over here to earn less and work the same amount and maybe even in some cases more? I do know in the States, you work a lot as well. And I guess that's why you get paid a lot. And there's also, you could say over here, the advantage. I like to think about it like that, but maybe I just don't know what it's like in a workplace in the States. Over here, you kind of get the advantage where everyone's a little bit friendlier. From what I've been able to see and what I've been told, there's a lot of friendliness at the workplace. Depending on where you're at, of course, there's a lot of hypocrisy too sometimes, but there's a lot of friendliness at the workplace. So it kind of feels like when you're working over here, you feel like really good about working over here because of that, but economically you feel terrible. So it's like when you go work in a different country, like you like the economic wage, you just maybe don't feel well socially because the work is hard and there's no one you can talk to about it. I don't know. That's just the assumption that I've made based on the things that I've been able to see. Maybe someone can chime in how hard working in a different country is. But from what I've been able to see, it's really hard work, but at least you get paid really well. Lewis, I thought Vilcabamba was safe. Once again, realistically, I don't think there's a place in Ecuador except Galapagos that is 100% safe. None. Like I have yet to see a place that if you do a search, you won't find some kind of crime in the past 3 years, maybe 5, if you want to make it a little bit longer. And some might have a lot of crimes that just happen weekly. So let's see here. Beyond Borders, Abundant Living Ecuador hasn't mentioned those break-ins. Their newest weekly podcast was released yesterday. I wonder why they haven't mentioned it. I had once talked to the person who's in charge, I think, of the channel. They wanted to interview me, but I don't know. They haven't told me anything about it. Lewis, has your YouTube channel started going up? I mean, little by little, it's been growing. I don't feel like I've reached, I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't made that video in the sense that every channel has one video that video like skyrockets their channel to like over thousands of subscribers. But I don't think I've made that video that's a viral video that's so impactful in that moment that my channel just blows up because of it. I have a dream of at least reaching 100,000 subscribers one day. It's like one of my main channel goals. But it's not something that's going to just happen overnight. That's why I realized that I have to keep making videos. I have to keep learning from the process, like how to make better videos. And yeah, that's just the way it is. Jolie Farms has stated in their older videos that they will not show their home, land, and security measures in place because of the risk of criminals targeting them. So sad that Joe passed away. Again, I don't know how you say it. I think it's my condolences again with Joe. Like, I really respected him. He was really nice. Like we had some chats and he wanted me to go to Vilcabamba so that we could like talk and we could hang out and make a video, but I never got a chance to. And it makes me so sad that I never had that chance to. So like sometimes when I hear the name Joe from somewhere else, it's not a common name over here. So when I hear it, I think about Joe, and I hope that he's in a better place. I don't know how bad he was actually, like how he felt. But if he wasn't good, and he's in a better place now, then that's the best thing I can ask for. So yeah, beyond borders, I don't believe United States citizens are being targeted at random. Fearing for your safety just for being an expat makes no sense to me. Yeah, I don't actually agree with the sentiment of expats specifically being targeted. When it comes to maybe like you can say certain scams and stuff like that, maybe because they see expats as maybe like a walking piggy bank. I hate to say it like that because it's not fair. But I think that's how some people view it, like view people who come from another country in general. Not even Americans, but like anyone who comes from a different country, they just see it like, oh, hey, this person can give us money. That's why they overcharge. That's why there's the being gringoed. Like that's not something people make up. That actually does happen. But we do have some things to talk about in regards to that because like prices going up is not just something that affects foreigners, but there's also a conversation to be had about the possibility of gentrification. I don't know what everyone's opinion is on that. I remember I talked about it once before, but a while back. I don't feel like it's something that you see very much, but I'm not living in a city like Cuenca where that's a little bit more like something that you can talk about there, because in Cuenca there's so many people that are from a different country that you could actually make an argument that if there's an area that's mainly inhabited by people from a different country, is that area more expensive now than it was when people from a different country weren't living there? So we'd have to take a look at that. But I probably wouldn't be able to do that until I go to Cuenca. So I'd probably have to talk to Luis about that, or someone living in Cuenca at this moment. Southern Breeze, can gringos carry guns? I think anyone who goes through the correct process is allowed to carry guns. It's just something that I don't think is the solution. It's good to have when you fear your life is in risk, but we go back to the situation with the expat that defended themselves the day that the whole situation happened where they lost their life. Like when you defend yourself from these people, sometimes even if you run away, it's not just one person that's there. There could be two, maybe even a group of people, because these people are so extreme, and I get it because that's the way they are. Like I see it from the perspective of a criminal why they would do these things, but I've seen situations where a criminal, like they'll end the life of someone, they'll drive away, make the round to see if the person is still alive, and then do it again if necessary. Like, continue their onslaught. So it's kind of like even if you defend yourself, like assume you get a lucky shot in against the person who's trying to take whatever from you, like, and then you get away. What if outside there's his friend? What if, even if you happen to get rid of their friend, what if they had someone else who looked like an innocent bystander watching to make sure that everything went through perfectly? And if it didn't, they know who you are, they took your picture, they already have everything recorded so that they know like what happened. Maybe they tail you. Like, I know I'm going into the level of paranoia, maybe like going into the details of that, but people are thorough here. And I think in general, like criminals are pretty thorough with these things. So that's why everyone here, when there's a crime, if you're about to get robbed, like let's say I'm out on the streets and for some reason I decided to be a dummy and carry my phone in my hand and a criminal steals it from me. I have two options, of which I would probably only do one. First option, give them my phone. Second option, try to fight back or run. You could say that's a third option, fight back and then run, but let's just count it as the same option. I would give them my phone because everyone agrees your phone is not worth your life. It's expensive. Yes, we can argue that our phones cost $200, $300, $400, $500, $1,000 and up because phones are expensive. But your life is not replaceable. So it's better, everyone agrees. if you're getting robbed, we would rather you give up your items over giving up your life. Okay, a positive question. Just a random question. Are you excited for Deadpool and Wolverine? Indeed, I am. I just don't want to watch it in Spanish, not because I don't understand Spanish, but because the jokes are not typically well translated. They don't sound the same as they do in English, at least to my funny bone. Magic criminals will always have guns. Strict gun laws help keep guns from people that want to defend themselves. Indeed. Patricia, I found a channel that posted videos about shady things going on around Vilcabamba and Abundant Living Ecuador was in a couple of the videos. I have actually heard about some of these things before. I just don't want to get too into it because I don't live in Vilcabamba and I'm not sure what the situation is over there. I do hope that one day when I have more time and more resources, I can travel to different cities and try to do investigations on those different cities. But right now, it's not something that I feel that I can do, at least not the way that I would want to do it. This is just a hope, of course, not something that like will happen. I wish I could do it. I wish there's so many things that I could do. But it's just, there's just not enough time. I don't even have a team yet to like an official team. I have an unofficial team, friends who help me out sometimes, but no official team. I actually had a video planned and we were going to compare two services with someone. I just don't know if we're going to do that video. It kind of has to do with the personal situation, but yeah. We'll talk about that. Like I said, I might tell members, but not this month because it technically count not for the June update, but for the July update. We'll see what happens. Louis, no wait, Papicho, prevention is the key to stay safe. No guns. I feel like if society were better in general, we wouldn't even have a need for guns. Let's see here. What about Kumbaya? What I know about Kumbaya is it's like a rich person zone. So it's not, was it? I don't know enough to give a lot of information about Kumbaya. I don't know if I'm thinking of someplace else that was considered to be a rich person zone. So don't quote me on this. I don't have enough information about it. My secret art sketchbook. Hello. And also Daniel. Hello. How's it going? Patricia, what channel, please? I want to see those videos as I am following Abundant Living. Let's see here. Tom Korea. Louis, I was staying in Quito a few days. On the first day, two guys were knocking on my Airbnb asking if I can let them borrow a broom. I never opened the door, but I left the next day to Kumbaya. I'm pretty sure I was being targeted. Not sure if the guard gave them info or the Airbnb did. You know, that's the worst part about this. You become very paranoid when you realize the negativity that some people have. Not even negativity, it's more like the bad intentions. That's why it's hard to trust certain areas, certain people, certain things. I'm not sure if this is the best advice, but when you want to live in a place here in Ecuador, I guess one of my best recommendations would be not to rent a place. I know it's cheap. I know a lot of people will argue for renting, but if you rent a place, you're always exposed to other people, even the person who's renting the place to you. So if you buy a place in a gated community, in my opinion, I think that's one of the best things you can do because there you have a community. Everyone lives in their own area. Everyone does their own thing. There should be rules in effect. That's why you have to look through which community. It'll be more expensive, of course, but at least there's a guarantee in my mind that there's someone making sure that you and everyone who lives in that community is safe. It's difficult to say that's good advice because yes, we can argue that even in a gated community, your neighbor could be your enemy, someone who wants to like sell your information to criminals, to gangs. But it's like I feel like if we look for ifs and buts to everything, then we're not going to be happy anywhere. And at least from what I've seen, everyone agrees that the gated communities are the safest places you can live. That, or you get completely off the map. Like my buddy fall off the map, Jesse. He's living, well, he has like his farming, I think someplace in Quito. I don't know where. I'm not even going to ask specifically where because I don't want to put him in danger. But he lives like separate from everyone. The same thing with Jolie Farms, Lisa. I mean, I don't mind if she never tells me where she lives because I understand why that would be the case. I would even accept, like, if I were to go to visit, like, for them to blindfold me so that way I have no way of telling anyone, because I would never want to be, like, blamed for saying, oh, I told everyone where you live. No, I would never do that, but you never know. People might say, oh, it was your fault, and that's just not the case. I would never want that. Speaking of which, I saw a comment, Mary, hello. Have you thought of interviewing Lisa Schramm, Joe's wife? Expats in Vilcabamba are definitely the target. I've wanted to. The thing is, getting to Vilcabamba, for me to leave my city, like, I have to imagine it's going to take quite a trip. And I remember with Joe, we talked about it. And there was just no direct flight. There's no way for me to get there that would be easy. Not saying that everything has to be easy, but with the limited amount of time that I have and with the responsibility that I have to my work, to my students, I wouldn't be able to do it unless I have a prolonged vacation and a surefire way of reaching there without suffering. Because like I said before, me and the bathroom were kind of tight. So I do have times like when I'm feeling like anxious that I have to go to the bathroom. And then now that made me kind of sad because I remember Joe told me that I should get myself checked because that's not normal for me to have to go to the bathroom so much. But yeah. Let's see here. My secrets in gated communities, the guards can be with those. Yeah, that's why I said there's really no end all solution. This is just my simplest, I guess you could say, suggestion that may not be the best one. I'm not saying it's the best one. It's just the best one that I've seen so far. Next to completely secluding yourself and making sure no one knows where you live. Lewis, hell yeah. Can't wait for the movie. Definitely. Sam too, hello. Haven't seen you in a long time too. Long time no see. Is it true that beginning on July 1st, Ecuador has canceled a lot of visa free for other nations like China? Many foreigners won't be able to get into Ecuador visa free. I haven't seen the news on that, to be honest. I'm not gonna say that I have, so I'd have to check. Let's see here. In fact, let me see here really quick on a separate tab. Visa free, Ecuador, just to be sure. Any news on that? I'm seeing an article on Voice of America as well as the Saint Kitts and Global Voices that says Ecuador ends visa-free entry for Chinese nationals. So that does actually seem to be a thing. I'm going to switch this tab so we can talk about this, not into detail, but just as an unfortunate thing of, once again, the situation with the cartels. But yeah, seems like that is a thing. Beyond borders, new home to what you wanted to get away from. I mean, if that's the solution for some people, I wouldn't say don't do it. Like, do what you feel is best, as long as it's within your reach. Because I also would hate for someone to move to a different city and for it to go completely out of their cost of living. Let's see here. In Ecuador, if you harm or delete a criminal in self-defense, you will get into trouble. In the UK, you will be held accountable more than the criminal. That used to be a thing, but recently, because of the wave of crime, the police at least have the authority to fight back. I'm not sure about the people. I know the police do, because there was a problem with that before, and that's why people felt like the laws were made to help the criminals on purpose. But now it's more like there is the situation, there is the possibility for normal civilians that is the case, but for police, now they can fight back and defend themselves. Beyond borders, I researched Kumbaya, and it is very expensive for homes. So I'm guessing Kumbaya is the city that I'm thinking of. That's part of Quito. It's a rich place. Like it's a nice place. That's where all the parties are, from what I've heard. But it's not guaranteed safe. Tony, hello. Hi. You are doing great. I guess you mean I hope you're doing great. I'm thinking of moving to Ecuador. Excellent. I'm not saying it's a great place right now to like immediately come, but it's also like what place is 100% perfect? Just make sure you do your research before you come, please. Jay Medina, how's Quito, bro? Is it safe to visit? I would say it's depends on where you go. Definitely just always follow the precautions. Visit. I don't know if the protests are still happening, the paros. They're not at the level that they were before, where they were like crazy nationwide. But definitely, if you're gonna go, just be aware of not being out too late. And if you are, make sure you're in a vehicle. You go to places that are like, with inhabited with a lot of people. So, like a mall or something. Let's see here. Cardiogram. That's a long name. Swamps been taken. Cult travel between on and Webstronaut warps at. Okay, I'm not sure 100% what that means. I'm sorry. Beyond borders, buying a home is a good idea for people that can afford to buy a house. I watched many channels that say expats have to have cash, no financing. I mean, buying a house is always an ideal thing, just as an investment choice for the future, anyways. Like if you have kids over here, you want to leave a house for them. That's part of a conversation I want to have in a bit. Some Reddit posts that I saw. If you have any kind of like future planned, it's better to have your own place in general. That way you don't have to worry about Ecuador prices anyways, because if it's your place, it's your price. Of course, aside from utilities and such, and anything you might want to add to it afterwards. Let's see here. I love Ecuador. Good. I think we all who are here love Ecuador. We just don't love what's happening in Ecuador, the negativity. Jesse, bit of a strange question. Hello. But anyone here had a flight to Quito and then an in-country flight to, for example, Cuenca or Guayaquil? How does that process go? Is it smooth? My flight to Quito, just as an example, was from Manta to Quito. And I mean, it was a direct flight, so maybe it's not the same as what you're asking, but it was smooth. The plane, I can't say was perfect. I kind of felt like a moment where that plane might have fallen apart, but maybe I was just looking at it from the eyes of someone who's seen how sometimes people don't take care of things over here. But for the most part, it was a safe trip. Let's see here. I'm coming from the Netherlands to Quito with a different flight from Quito to Cuenca. Okay, if someone can help out Jesse, that would be good. I wouldn't be able to say because, like I said, my flight was direct from Manta to Quito. Daniel, I think one thing foreigners need to know is that once they step foot in foreign land, they're being watched. Don't be flashy and try to blend in. Definitely. If you can't, like, I know a lot of people, there's two sides, and a lot of people are okay with like not interacting with the locals. They just want to live here and be happy with the prices and such. I think that's fine. Just realize that when you don't get along with the population, you never know what the population is thinking or planning to do. I mean, think about it like this. If you have a friend who is an Ecuadorian and there are people who don't like you, your friend might tell you. Your friend might be like, oh, hey, look, there's these people who they see that you have a lot of money. They see that you're coming in every day with like a new car, or I don't know, they see that you're with different people all the time. I don't know. And they've been talking about that. And then even if they didn't say anything negative, you know in your mind that people are talking about you. They have their eyes on you. So you have to be cautious and do things a little bit differently. Or talk to them also to be like, hey, this is my situation. And be real with them. If you don't talk, you're never going to know what the situation is like, Let's see here. Patricia, channel name is Vilcabamba Real Estate Disclosures. I think I've seen the name of that channel before. I think they actually used to come on stream sometimes. How about Q? I'm not sure if you mean Keto. Let's see here. I'm talking to y'all to Target to get my curbside pickup order with me and my dogs. I'm taking y'all. All right. Thanks for taking us on the trip. Sam too, thanks. Not a problem. Unfortunately, I couldn't say more about the subject, but it's unfortunate that that actually is happening with the visa-free situation. That is part of the comment about gentrification. We do have to talk about that over here with the Reddit post. But first, let me just show you this. Like I said, the police announced 49 people freed from mass gang kidnapping. This was something that was brought to my attention by a subscriber. I won't say who her name is, but she did show it to me, and I had remembered it because recently I heard about it as well in person. Like after she told me, so she actually got the news faster, and she doesn't even live in Ecuador. So it was like, wow. So they freed 49 people who were kidnapped in an underground in a mine, and this just shows the power of the Lobos, the gang of the wolves, and it's kind of crazy to me how powerful they are, assuming that we've already done something to try to stop them. Like, I'm not sure if the military is not doing their job or it's just not enough. That's why I'm saying that the only solution that I'm seeing is the extreme, and I'm not down for that just because I don't feel like that's something that's gonna happen. Let's see here. Lisa, Kumbaya was the last place Amelia and JP lived for about a year, and they said it was the most expensive city in Ecuador. Probably next to any city in Galapagos, of course, but yeah. Then it's definitely up there amongst the safest cities. When some place is expensive, it's also easy to think that that place would be targeted a lot, but it's also easy to think that that place would have increased security due to how expensive it is. So maybe they were living there because they felt really safe too, which also makes sense why in one of their videos they said they could walk from one place to another. Now I'm like over here thinking if you walk from over here, the sun's gonna destroy you, and if the sun doesn't destroy you, then someone is gonna make problems for you. Not saying that people don't walk, but people definitely prefer to avoid it. How is Selena's? Tony, you can definitely check out Living Loving Abroad's channel, Stephen LaShawn. Speaking of Stephen LaShawn, I do want to make a little bit of a shout out. You can talk to them about that, or you can check out their videos. They give more information on Selena specifically. Beyond Borders, you can always do a split screen interview with Lisa. Good idea. I'll have to see if she's willing to go on to a Zoom call and see how that works. Because the last time I did something with Zoom with microphones, it's like since I use my phone, I have to connect and disconnect. So it's kind of a difficult thing. But I'll give it a shot. I'll reach out to Lisa and see if she has anything to say. Jesse, if you clear immigration and customs at Quito, then the rest within Ecuador are domestic flights, and that's okay and cool. Thanks, NetFreak, for answering Jesse's question. I was worried because since I haven't done any, like, other than just from here to Quito, like, other than that, like, I haven't done any other flights. It's like, I wasn't sure what other information I could give on that one. Have 2 to 3 hours in between flights, so I hope it's enough. Tony, how about Baños? Baños is nice. I heard that they had the whole situation with the landslide recently due to the rain and such, and other situations. But when the situation, if it's not cleared already, because I haven't investigated it into detail, when that's cleared, I think it's a great place. It's really nice, at least in touristic sense. Like I've been wanting to go for a long time now. We might actually go next year with some friends. So stay tuned for a video on that. All right, let's get into the rest of the conversations that we have here. There's actually 3 different posts that all come into a situation that I want to talk about when it comes to paying for things. Netfreak, Jesse, that's tight, but I have no clue if there will be any delay. If your arrival is on schedule, then I guess 2 to 3 hours will be okay. Always scary, these connecting flights. You miss one, you miss all. Ooh, that is a scary thought, actually. But let's talk about this over here. So I saw this post, and like I said, this post goes in connection with 2 other posts that I want to talk about a little bit in regards to charging too much at a restaurant. That's what this post says. Is it illegal to charge too much at a restaurant? I think a lot of people have concerns about like being overcharged, but the reality is, like it says in the first comment, which is kind of sarcastic, it's free commerce, baby. Well, they say papa, but it's like saying baby in that case. And then afterwards, someone who's a lawyer says, lawyer here, it doesn't mean shit because it's supply and demand. The person who's complaining, because apparently the original post says someone is complaining about being charged $2 for a Coca-Cola. And that person, the person who's making this post, is gonna maybe lose their job for it, but they don't care because they don't like their job anyways. But it's like no one forced the person to pay for that cola. Like if they wanted to buy the cola, it cost $2 and they decided to buy it. It was their choice to buy it. And then the lawyer says, either way, they're all rats. Like I guess you could say they're all leeches. The restaurant people for charging $2 for a Coca-Cola, but at the end of the day, you decide if you pay $2 if you want to buy it or not. So yeah. And then adding to that, the things cost what the people are willing to buy to pay for them. If no one buys it, then they'll lower the price. Sometimes the case, sometimes not. But it does seem to be that is the case. Let's see here. I feel like, I don't know if it was here. No, let me go to the next one. And this one has to do with rent. This next post that I saw, I kind of wanted to dedicate a whole video to this just because of what it sounded like and like something that I could really talk about. Maybe I will, but I guess this could be like your heads up to what that might be. And I say might because once again, time just doesn't help. But basically, this person is trying to vent because they're complaining about how expensive it is to rent. Because before they used to pay $225 for a nice suite, and it was safe. But now in the same area, the things that cost $225 are only smelly holes, which basically they're saying it's just like terrible, ugly looking places. The place that they're living in right now it costs $320 to rent. And the conditions are nice, but the bad thing is that it's in a hotel where people pass by in the morning. You know, they talk a lot. They scream like son of a beep. They move everything. They make noise. And since it's a hostel, people are entering and leaving all the time. So basically, it's just an annoying situation. And they're just frustrated that every place they look for, it's like, it's too expensive. Like, for example, everything that is nice here costs around $500. And who has $500 to pay for rent in Ecuador? And even if you have it, it would be a better investment to buy yourself something like an actual place for yourself, and go, and little by little pay for that place. So basically, this person is complaining a lot about that. And the main comment here is something that I can resonate with. I don't know what to tell you. I still live with my parents. And like, this is something that it's kind of internally contradicting, because like, I my American side, the part of me that lived in the States, feels bad because I live with my parents. But realistically, I just don't have the means to go live by myself. Like, I have a hard time living with my parents. Like, now, if I leave this house, I probably won't survive, or I would have a hard time surviving, and I would be just barely surviving. And maybe that's just something that some people will say, well, Ace, that's the real world. You have to understand that there are things that are difficult. You have to go through adversity, blah, blah, blah. I know. I've I've thought of every scenario. I'm very good at overthinking things that no one has even mentioned, maybe not even thought about. But I realize it. It's like, the reality is that it's tough for everyone who decides to go and live out on their own. But like, if we can make it a little bit less difficult for ourselves and at least save up for a good future, then why not do that? And I also look back at the situation, not just here, but in the States, because it's the same thing in the States. Maybe they don't live with their parents, but people have to make do with the bare minimum. And I kind of feel like it's because of how the housing market has shifted, the economy has plummeted in all countries that I know of, at least. Um, it's just a lot of things that accumulate, that have accumulated over time. And like, I feel like the best thing we can do, the people who have parents who have a house, is just live there. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm living here. I'm trying to save. I'm trying to get my things so that when one day I do leave, I at least have everything that I need, and I'm not like in an empty room. Like, I buy my own house or I rent an apartment, and I'm not in an empty room buying one thing at a time because I just don't have the money to buy it all at once. So it's like, I'm building up for that future in hopes that that'll be good. And there's another conversation that people talked about here too, actually. Let's see here. Not this. This is someone that gave a solution that said, they understand your frustration. The solution is to share the rent with someone. That's a solution that, of course, if you know someone, you could share the rent. And this was another conversation that I thought was great. And I'm actually going to see if I can translate it. It's not translating. I don't know if it can translate. Okay, so it's not translating. So yes, it's frustrating, but I left Ecuador a few years ago, and truth be told, I've noticed that in other countries of Latin America, it's much worse. I truly do miss, wait here. I truly do miss, it might translate soon, that they ask you for 2 months guarantee, like they ask you for 2 months in advance. Yo extraño a lo sumo un certificado. And sometimes they'll ask you for a labor or work certificate, and that's it. In Bogota, they make you go through an insurance company that does an economic study, looks at your credit history, and if you're a foreigner, you're screwed because you practically do not exist. They also ask you for a guarantor, someone who's going to make sure that you're legit, who has to have a property in the city. And in some cases, they even make you pay 6 months in advance. A complete abuse. In Mexico, it was a little simpler, but also very complex, especially because they ask you for a guarantor with property. And not to mention in Buenos Aires. There, if you are a foreigner, the contracts are for 3 or 4 months and they charge you in dollars. In Chile, real estate companies abused the situation, their real estate situation, so much that the government had to introduce regulations to put limits on them. And they're not trying to invalidate how the person feels, but it's just crazy all the hoops that you have to go through in certain countries. Here in Latin America, I don't know what the situation is like in the States right now, but here in Latin America. And here's the other comment that I wanted to talk about when we were talking about gentrification. I think one of the main reasons why the cost of rent is going up is because of people from Western countries who can remotely work on Western wages. $15 an hour is nothing in the United States, and it's actually considered poor here. That hourly pay gives you an annual income of $30,000, which is $2,500 a month. I wish I could make $2,500 a month. Oh my goodness, the life I would live with $2,500 a month. I could retire my parents and still live a very peaceful life. And as a result, rents for a foreigner are seen as affordable there. Too many YouTubers say move here, everything is affordable, not realizing that their salaries are much higher than locals. And here, this is where the conversation becomes kind of aggressive. Completely true, and they come to live in Latin America without paying taxes under the excuse that they are foreigners. Yes, I agree. As an American, if you're using roads, utilities, and government services and don't pay taxes, that's taking advantage. It's not fair to the locals because they're covering those costs while foreigners live for free like kings. At some point, locals will need to vote on regulations to tax people who stay for an extended period of time. If they are on vacation for 2 weeks, that's fine. But if they stay for 6 months, they need to pay taxes. I know that some European countries do this. So I wanted to ask everyone who's here on stream what you think about this situation, because honestly, I don't know what kind of taxes. I thought everyone had to pay for EVA. I thought everyone had to pay tax. If you're living here, I thought everyone paid for what everyone pays for. Like, I thought it was normal. But if this is true, then what is your opinion? Should foreigners pay taxes in order to make everything fair and better for the country? Or should it just be like how it's, I don't know if it's really truly always been without taxes. By the way, I see Jesse James, hello. And Sir Yoris, hello. In the meantime, while you guys analyze this, really quick, let me check the comments. Don just did a video on apartments in a very nice gated community with weekly maid service for only $350, including all utilities fully furnished. Yes, and don't forget the pole in the kitchen. There was one place that he mentioned that pole, and I was laughing. I thought that was pretty funny. So let's see, Jesse, sending drones around and then putting on YouTube, not a great idea either. Criminals are more technical and immersed in social media. Just because someone is bilingual, they're not necessarily Not sure what you were saying. I would think your parents are happy to have you living with them, contributing to the household since times are tough there. Yes, that is something that as part of my new cost of living video that I'm making, I do mention that I actually pay my own rent here as if I'm paying a rent for this room, of course. And I also pay for the light bill and for a specific food that I have almost every day. Every day, actually, except for the days I don't eat, because there are days that I decide not to eat, not because I don't have money to eat, which would be very sad, but that's not my case. It's just there are days that I feel it's healthier not to eat. Let's see here. I would think you're, oh wait, no, I already read that. Do you plan to move to another part of Ecuador when you get your own place? I've come to love Puerto Viejo so much because of the food and the friends, of course, that I've made, that the only thing that could probably pull me away from this city is the loss of what I have right now. So I don't want to go into detail because that's kind of a death flag that you pull up right there. But I would have to lose a lot of things that I have now in order for me to want to leave. I'll just leave it at that because I don't like getting into the kind of morbid things. If I had to choose a second option, like if I were to move away, like if I were to move like to a place, I would probably want to go to maybe Cuenca, Quito, or I want to go someplace fresh. So yeah, Cuenca or Quito are like my two main places that I could think of at this moment that I would feel inclined to move to. Hmm. Maybe Ibarra as a third option. I'll talk about that in a future video probably. Jesse James, Vilcabamba underbelly is interesting. Criminals rob military and police uniforms here. Sometimes you would swear that these comments come from like a joke post or something because they just don't feel real. Like that happens? Yes, it does happen. Um, Ecuadorian people are very good and always helpful. Yes, the majority that are not evil, they do. In fact, I think about the situation with that I talked about. I think I can't remember who I talked about it with, and I don't remember if I mentioned it last live stream, but I talked about it with someone like the people who have the least money, the worst situation circumstances are the people that help you the most. The people with money, there's sometimes the people who help you the least, and they have money to spare is the worst part. Oh, Beyond Borders, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I feel that everyone should pay their fair share in taxes according to their income. Well said. Um, Let me see here. I wasn't done reading the. Either way, remember, leave your opinions. I want to know what you think about this situation. And then I also want to check out the last post from Reddit in regards to this same topic because they're kind of all three topics are kind of related. The charging more for what you for like a Coca-Cola, this situation with the rent, and one more thing. Let's see here. I was just about to read. Beyond Borders. It was your comment, actually. Sorry, Ace. If you were making $2,500 a month, the cost of living would be $4,000 a month. However, if you mean nomad wage with a current Ecuador economy, then yes, you would be a king. Yeah, I was talking about nomad wage with the current Ecuador economy because I feel like, for example, right now per month, like just to give an approximate, because it could be less some months and more other months. Per month, I'm spending about maybe 500 to I want to say around $600. There are months that are less, of course, and there are months that are more. And I'm always trying to save also. So I sometimes I force months to be less by not buying things. There are some months where I don't have to buy a lot of things. So of course they come out cheaper. Um, but let's just assume that's my wage. So if I had $2,500, I would go with the 600 or 700 for my normal costs. Have a little bit of leeway to about $700 to $800, maybe more. I would give about 500 to 1,000 extra to my parents so that they could use or spend or save or see what they do with. And then the last 500, I would be able to like do things for myself because sometimes I feel like maybe Ecuador has been boring sometimes for me because I just don't have money to be able to do anything. Like I just feel like if I spend like sometimes I go out and I'll be like if I spend more than $10, it's gonna ruin me financially. So I try not to spend more than I have the means to spend. Yes, there will be outings where I spend $20. Like if I have a date, which uh, when I have a date, it'll be a happy day again. I don't mind spending because it's not just me I'm spending for. I would be spending for the person I'm going out with. Um, but it's like when I spend more than $20 on something that's not a date, I feel like it does hurt me a lot. So it's like if I had more money to be able to spend and save and invest in different things, like I wanna get a car, and it's not even for me. It's like so my parents can go out and do things, but it's like it's not feasible right now, you know? I'd have to save a lot more still. That's why I'm working extra now, because the situation is tough and I'm seeing if I can save a little bit of what I earn. Henry, expats are required to pay Ecuadorian taxes. Al Cubo, hi Ace, I am here. I have not said anything because I was just listening. Hello, it's okay. I'm glad that you're here and that you replied. You can, of course, say as much as you'd like. Magic, I think if you're a resident or if you're trying to become a citizen, then yes, you should pay taxes. But as a visitor or a tourist, I don't agree with that law. No, I think even the comment says like if you're here for a few weeks on vacation, it's okay. But if you're staying 6 months or if you're staying like a year, then maybe it would be like good for it to help. Like more than anything, like I don't like charging people more than they need to pay in most things, like in life in general. But like if it helps, if it's not for me and if it's to help in general, I feel like why not? That's why sometimes I don't even fight when it comes to paying for certain prices, which is what we're going to look at over here when we talk about this whole poncho thing. Magic, not to mention, by the way, El Cubo, hello everyone from Panama. Hope everything is going well for you in Panama. Carla Banks, hello, good afternoon. I'm just tuning in, but I'll go back and listen to the entire thing later. Thank you very much, Carla. I hope you're doing well. Not to mention, as a digital nomad, you still have a tax obligation to the US. Really? I didn't know. I don't know how the situation with taxes work with digital nomads, since I figured since you're not in the country anymore, you're not really paying taxes to them. I'm guessing when you get paid, since it goes through your, I guess you could say your RUC, like your Social Security. I'm not sure if that's how it would be called, but basically over here, the RUC, like you pay with your name, and since your name is registered in the States, it goes through the tax situation in the States. So I guess that does make sense. April, your vids can be as long as you want them to be. Thank you for your honesty. It is not always easy to be truthful on YouTube, so thank you. You're welcome. And thank you for saying that, because sometimes even I have my doubts if I'm going for too long, because I do get, I'm telling you, at least one comment per live stream is this video is too long. And I'm like, I don't write it, but you can see there it says, hey, this is a live stream. Live streams can be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Some people live stream the whole day. And at least when I'm live streaming, I give a lot of information. Some people just live stream and I see them sitting there on the camera and they're watching a video and they're not saying anything. And it's like, really? And you're complaining about a 2-hour long video where I actually say things? I even reply to everyone's comments. So I don't know. Sometimes I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong. So it's always good to get feedback that that's not the case. Al, I think that people are not aware that even if you are a foreigner, you pay taxes when you buy anything in Ecuador. That's what I keep saying. Like people pay the IVA here. So it's like I don't know why that complaint exists. So I was like, am I missing something? That and the gringo tax law. Golan Heights, hello. I'm leaving tomorrow and I'm spending July in Quito. I'm not worried in the slightest. I can't wait. Go for it, Golan. Sorry if that sounded loud. I hope you enjoy your time in Quito. Let us know how it goes for you, please. Oh my God, Don Shader. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Let's see here. First, let me finish reading over here. I cannot visit Quito or Cuenca because of the altitude. That makes me sad. Patricia, as far as I know, expats in Ecuador are paying sales tax, property tax, not just income tax. I think that's fair. I agree. When you suffer from CAD, coronary arterial disease, you cannot hang around high altitude places. You have to take care of yourself. Is there anything that you can do like to mitigate the altitude sickness? Because their income. Oh, I see that Don said we need to find you a girlfriend. Don, I have something that we have to talk about. We have two things we have to talk about. If you're still here, buddy, I wanted to tell you that I recently, and I do want to do a quick shout out to all my channel members and my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee. Recently, I got some support, some donations to buy the softbox that I've been wanting to buy. I have it as a wish list item on Buy Me a Coffee. And some people have just been supporting me with donations and stuff like that for a separate goal that I had. But now that I have the softbox donation complete, I wanted to ask you, Don, if you could accompany me one day, so that we can go buy a softbox. I don't know if we can find one in Manta, but if you know of a place that we can go and we can check it out, uh, I would love to go get a softbox. I want your expertise because I want to buy one that's good, and I just don't know what's good. I don't even know if I have enough money for a good one because I've been searching online, and there's these like kits that cost like $400, and I'm not looking for something like that. I'm good with one light because I have natural light over here. I get the light over here, and then I feel like it should fill up my face. Like right now I have this like LED light that just like beams onto the roof because that's the only thing I've been able to find. And right now I looked at it and I still see like the light in my eyes when I close my eyes. So if you can help me out with that, brother, like I would appreciate it. But going back to the comment, oh, and by the way, I hope you're doing well, and big shout out to Stella and you, of course. I hope you guys are doing well. By the way, I still laugh at the idea of the video where you just recently made about the apartments at the pole that was in the kitchen. That was pretty funny. Patricia, because their income isn't made in Ecuador, expats spending money in Ecuador is good for the economy. That was my argument when I saw that comment. I'm like, but I mean, I was gonna write it, but I was like, then everyone's just gonna fight me, thinking that I'm like a gringo infiltrator. But it's like realistically, people who come to spend money over here, they're contributing to the economy. So I didn't see the complete problem. I see the problem if there's no taxes being paid, then I would understand. But they're contributing to the economy and they're paying taxes. So, let's see here. Everyone's saying hi to Don. Don't forget, say what's up to Don. Don is totally correct. You need a girlfriend, and those are better than cheap dates. Man, I wish I could show you guys something. I just, okay, I'm gonna give you guys a bit of a spoiler because my channel members know, and and like I was recently talking to someone, and I kind of right now not really, but I don't know. That's why it's kind of uncertain. I was getting to know a girl, but the thing is, like, I don't know what's happening with that right now because of work and some certain situations. It's just been kind of tough in general. I've been really busy, and it's kind of tough. So at the end of this month, we'll see what happens. That's all I can say for now because I feel like I've already said too much. And when you say things that are uncertain, they kind of turn into water. So, I won't say more on that topic. Don is totally correct. You need a girlfriend, and those are better than cheap dates. Ace needs an actress that doesn't spend an ace-tress that doesn't spend too much. Doing great, Al. It's great. Good to see you. Cost of cola, rent, and taxes are all on government. Ignoring working class people has always caused these types of governments to fail. I don't think foreigners should pay taxes. Don, yes, all Americans are required to pay income tax regardless of where they live. Thank you for covering that, Don. IRS is mooching off of me even if I live in Panama. Dang it, IRS. It's like the comment, I think it was from Kirk. Kirk had said, "Get off my lawn. Get out of my wallet, IRS." Henry, yes, at least for Americans, we are double taxed as expats if you live in Ecuador. Yes, Americans are taxed on a worldwide basis, no matter where they live or from which country income is derived. I feel like everyone should go into that post and just tell them, hey, we are being taxed, believe it or not. Gotta get going now. Catch up on the rest of this later. I've got class at 2:45. I hope everything goes well for you, Lisa. Let's see here. I pay the EVA, but get most of it back, up to $110 per month. That's great. That's how the EVA technically should work, if depending on what you pay in general in Ecuador. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna go forward a little bit. Oops, accidentally hit my caps lock. Jamie, it's been many years since I've been to Ecuador, spent time back in the 80s. 90s in Guayaquil, Manta, and even Loja. I considered going back to spend time there in retirement, but all these troubles are giving me pause. I say you come visit at least and see how it feels. And if it feels good, you stay for the long term. Tom, all U.S. citizens are required to file taxes. Absolutely. I have a softbox I'll give you. Don, no. I mean, I appreciate it so much. But at least let me buy something, man. I want to like feel like what people are giving me is like I can use it to give back to my channel and give back to everyone in a way. And it's a nice one with a beauty dish. Oh goodness, I need to see that. I'll come to Puerto Viejo this week because I have something else for you. Okay, this has been a live stream full of surprises. Brother, I appreciate it. Please let me do something for you too one day. Oh man, I don't want to get emotional on stream. Okay. Netfreak, great Uncle Sam, Uncle Don Shader. I mean, Al Cubo, thumbs up. If a gringo comes and rents an apartment from an Ecuadorian for a year, they could be supporting that person's family for the year. That is technically the case, if you think about it like that. And that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like a lot of the comments that I saw here, they're not seeing it from the point of view of a person who comes over here. Speaking of which, I did want to talk about this poncho thing. It's not the poncho that I'm worried about. It's what they say. Ask 5 different vendors and you will have enough answers to make a decision. It's not custom to bargain. We bargain because we are poor as hell. And there are people saying that you should pay for what is being charged. But some people do overcharge and they don't look at that. They don't look at the fact that there are people who are being overcharged here, like foreigners who get overcharged for things. Pay the full price. What if the real price is $40 and they're charging someone who's a foreigner $100? That's not fair. So they're not looking at it from the side of the person. They're looking at it more from like a closed off personal opinion side. At least that's what I think from what I'm seeing, of course. Anyways, I wanted to go on. Sam, too, for real, I feel like the second greatest recession is coming this year, and companies are going through bankruptcy like crazy in Texas, which accelerated my plan to leave the US and come to Ecuador. Please come on down, and I hope it helps you out because I don't want anyone to suffer where they're at, especially with how things are going. Papicho, do Ecuadorians get a yearly tax return? Yes, but actually, Papicho, right now at my work at the academy that I'm at, every month I have to pay 10% of my income to the IRS. But that's supposed to come back to me in a devolución. They're supposed to return it to me in a return. But recently, my tax return was supposed to be in March. I filed for it in March. Everything was done well. It is July, and I have yet to see that tax return. And I have a feeling that we probably won't see it until maybe the end of the year if we're lucky. Just got laid off from tech company in Texas, which makes me even more certain it's time to leave US and just retire. Yeah, Sam, do what you got to do. Sorry that happened, but do what you got to do. Let's see here. Oh, Ramon, thank you very much. I appreciate the donation. It helps out a ton. As we say in Spanish, muchas gracias. Don Shader, it's all good. Brother, trust me, it's more than all good. I really appreciate everything you do. I appreciate everyone who's even just here on stream because this helps out a lot. You interacting, you leave a comment, you engage. this helps the channel grow, and it helps me reach more people, and helps more people be informed of the things that are happening over here. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about these three things on Reddit because I feel like they all have relation to what it is in terms of cost, and some things that are being seen and some things that are not being seen. Like the whole rental thing, like we can look at it as a problem of gentrification and things like that, and think about things like, oh, everyone should pay taxes and stuff like that. But do you realize what the situation is for a person coming from outside of the country? Not everyone who comes from outside of the country is overly wealthy. Yes, they will be considered to be wealthy in comparison to someone living here, but it's not always the case. So I also just wanted to look really quick at the memes about football, about soccer, because it was kind of funny when I saw them. This one, where this person, the meme is like, I have three cups, three World Cups. What do you have? And then in Ecuador, a stable dollar. And over here, Argentina, what are you laughing at? And Ecuador, I almost beat you. So basically, it's just soccer memes because of the previous soccer games that happened, and the fact that Ecuador lost, unfortunately, to Argentina, but they almost won. Well, we almost won. So yeah, let's see here. Beyond borders, U.S. citizens can complain, but if they live here, they pay income tax, sales tax, FICA tax, Medicare tax. So if they live in Ecuador and not taxed in USA, then it's only fair they pay taxes. If they charge too much, just keep walking. If they want to really sell, they will stop you with a reasonable price. Yes, when it comes to the whole fair pricing of items, remember, if something seems unfair for you, just walk, because there's no need to fight or anything about it, because there will be a place that sells it for cheaper and maybe better. So definitely don't complicate yourself over that. I did like this comment over here about the humbling experience. This person talks about when they visited a small village in Manabi where they weave the straw hats, the pajatoquia, and some of the hats take 40 hours to make in harsh conditions. This person bought two because of how, and they saw the conditions of the place, because the people who make them, it's not like, oh, they're selling, for example, let's just say it costs $50 to make each hat. They sell each hat at $50, and it's not like, oh, it's made out of this material, why is it so expensive? It's not like they're making bank on that. The place that they live in shows that they're not exactly like it's not like that hat is going to make their life like amazing. It's just a good thing in a terrible situation for them. So it was just something that I saw. Douglas, hello. Lewis, how's it going? I also see Danny. I think I also saw a comment from Danny earlier. But yeah, hold up. There's some comments I didn't read. My only advice, which is basically what Don preaches in on his channel, treat others with respect and behave like a human being, and you will be treated the same. Excellent advice. Always. My advice is the golden rule. Don't treat others the way that you don't want to be treated. Treat them the way that you want them to treat you. I like fairness, so I like being fair with giving the information and treating people fairly. That's what I try to do on my channel. That's what the kind of person I try to be. I'm not perfect. I've said it before. I am not a perfect person. There are a lot of things that I still have to learn, a lot of things that I'm still trying to improve on, but I'm trying to be the very best I can be each and every day. And I can keep getting better. In health, I'm kind of worried that I'm getting worse, actually, because I've had this like pain. Right now I'm taking like Tensiflex, which is like medicine for my back. But it's been a weird thing. Like I've had these like kind of cramps in my body. It's part of the things that I wanted to talk about later, but just mentioned it now because I'm talking about being better. And I thought, oh yeah, but right now I'm kind of rusty. I don't know. I feel kind of like not good. But yeah. So let's see here. That was great. That was a great game. Yeah, everyone, I didn't get to see it, but everyone talks about how good it was. Hello, Ace in chat. To be honest, I'm not someone who watches a lot of soccer. If you invite me to a game, I'll watch it with you, but I'm not like someone who watches a lot of soccer. So, you know. Let's see here. So we have both Don and Lewis here. What's going on, guys? Thanks for stating that not all foreigners are wealthy. It's a huge misconception and can make you become a target. It's just that it's the reality. Some people come here because they're not wealthy and they want to be able to live a good life. People who don't have a good income in the States, they sometimes become homeless. And if they can avoid that by coming here and have a home, have a nice warm meal, like I think that's the best thing ever. Like I think that's great. I also saw Patricia's comment late. I lost my job of 18 years in the USA and haven't been able to get in an interview yet. The USA is not the gold mine foreigners think it is. It definitely isn't. It's just a lot of people are tired of how much they work here to earn almost nothing. Like I know places that offer like $4 to $5 an hour for teaching services, and I'm like, I wouldn't do that. My work is worth much more than $4 or $5, especially with the years of experience that I have. Al, I bought my Tokia hat in Panama, which was made in Montecristi and not for anything. Best hat I've ever owned. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it's a good hat for you. Don is here, of course. Buenas tardes, Luis. Looking forward to your next video. Yeah, I have been waiting for more Luis of Ecuador videos and build-up tours. Douglas, how safe is Ecuador for a 65-year-old male with no family and doesn't know anyone in Ecuador? Depends on where you're planning on going. If you come to the coast, I'd say you're kind of risking it. And also how flashy you decide to be while you're over here in Ecuador. I think if you're going to a city that's safer, like for example, a good place in Quito or a good place in Cuenca, you should be fine. A lot of people retire by themselves, from what I understand, in Cuenca, and it goes really well for them. Just always follow the rules of not being too flashy with your things. Maybe you can be a little bit flashier in Cuenca than you can over here where I live, but I still always just say, what's the point? Just be cautious, go out. If you can, take a vehicle wherever you go. Play it safe, especially if you want to live in peace, you know? Oh, man. Let's see here. Thank you, Beyond Borders, setting up my new recording place. It's almost ready. You know, I actually really like the part where you go out and walk on the streets recording, because I think that's really cool. Because that's just something I could never see myself doing over here. Not without a squad of people. Income here is not enough to live, but perhaps if you have 2 jobs, you can survive. True. The States has become very complicated. Exactly. I knew some Ecuadorian students in my college from years ago. They came here in London to study and work. They went back to Ecuador now. I hope they found the job over here. The good thing, like I've said before on past live streams, is that when you get a degree in a different country from a university and you bring it over here, your job opportunities open up a lot more than if you were to use your degree from Ecuador to get a job in Ecuador. People highly value degrees from other countries. GM, I just passed a part of your video where you say that here fear that gangs may start targeting Cuenca if we keep saying Cuenca is safe. And yes, that is a concern that I have sometimes. It's a weird thing. You would think that wouldn't happen, but then you realize that when you send so much people to a place, that if we notice it, like if we who don't live there notice it, imagine the criminals. They're like, where's our piggy banks? We're gonna go follow them to Cuenca. And it's just terrible. I'm not suggesting Panama because it has become very expensive and there are a lot of rules for expats coming over here. It's okay. Either way, remember, you make a suggestion based on what you think is the reality on your situation. It's good to know the details. But if you have any suggestions for us, that's also really good. Shader, my good buddy Don. Lewis, that's exactly why I've slowed down on my videos. Avoiding having to say too much can be dangerous. It can. I'm kind of wondering if I should just stick to some of the formats that I've been doing, like the interviewing my friends and hearing what they have to say about it, because some people have enjoyed it, or just giving my personal thoughts on certain situations just to avoid other things. But at the same time, I also don't want to limit the flow of information, because I feel like then it would in part make me feel like I'm being dishonest or not complete in the information. I don't know, just some ideas that I've had. In the US, it's completely different. You make more, but job is not stable. Laid off is common. It's hard to save money. In developing countries, you can have a job. You can make very little money, but livable. It would be good, like if someone, like I always tell people, if you come to live here and if you get a job like out from the country, like maybe a digital job, digital nomad style, you'll be able to live really well over here because you're earning a lot more than anyone who lives here. Um, it's not the easiest thing for all people. Even I still haven't been able to find a job online. Not that I'm looking for one right now anyways, I just don't have the time. I can only dedicate my time to so many things. Like recently, like just a little bit of a thing, part of my time was being dedicated to someone. And I like that because I like dedicating. If I'm trying to get to know someone, I have to dedicate time to them. Um, but that also means that I have to remove time from other things. Um, and that's just the reality, you know? Okay, so I think with that, I've covered most of the things that I mainly wanted to talk about with Ecuador today. Of course, I will still answer questions and we can still talk about certain things. But I don't want to keep anyone here who might have to do something. So if you don't want to stick around for a little bit of the life updates, a little bit of personal updates, then that's okay. I appreciate you being here and thank you for your support. Once again, channel members, Buy Me a Coffee members, supporters on both ends, people who donate, everyone who helps. Thank you so much. I did want to talk about something that happened on my channel recently. I was reading through some of the comments, and like I said earlier in the video, in this live stream, I barely have time for myself. So when I answer comments, it's like I realized the other day I was answering some comments from like 9 days ago. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's been 9 days since this comment was posted. I just haven't had the time. I've been doing so many things that I just haven't had the time. I spent the other day at the high school because we were recording a video because the high school asked me to make a video with the students that they had to make a video for a 4th of July presentation. I would love to show you it, but because my kids are in the video, and they're like older kids, but it's like they're still kids. So I don't want to have any problems. I don't want there to be any issues with, oh, you're showing the kids and everything. Not going to happen. Unless like they give their permission, of course. I'm pretty sure they'll post it somewhere because I sent the video to the kids. Like I gave it to them so that they can do with it what they want because of course they were in the video. And it came out really good, by the way. The presentation that day, the video, everything came out amazingly. It's just something that because of rules, I don't know if I can actually share. But anyways, what I did want to talk about, the situation with the comments that are left on my channel and on my videos. Sometimes I don't have time to check them all, and I apologize if I can't answer them all. And if I answer them late, please have patience with me. Be patient with me. Um, I have been trying to answer as many comments as I can. And recently I noticed a comment that was a comment similar to one that I saw a while back, like maybe months ago, and I already answered that comment before because of the situation. But I'm going to answer it again because I don't want there to be any confusion. There was a comment, and I took a screenshot of it, a comment that said that I'm hiding comments. And I will reiterate, I barely have time to check all the comments, so I don't even have time to hide comments. I don't know why that they think that I'm hiding the comment, but there was even someone who went along with this comment and said, It's always the ones that act nice and you think you can trust. And once again, I'm not hiding the comments because I don't have time. The only comment that I delete on my channel is one that is related to Bitcoin or crypto. There are people who write this comment saying, the market is failing, but if you invest in crypto now, you'll be fine and you should follow this person so that they can give you advice. And then two more comments show up after that one, like immediately, talking about that same comment. And that's when I know it's a bot, because it's just trying to give more information on crypto. And even with that comment that was left, the person saying, so you're hiding comments? Seriously? They even changed the comment to say that, how are you different from Viveza Criolla, which is the topic that I talked about here in Ecuador. And they said, how do you yourself expect change when you censor or allow censorship? I'm not hiding comments. I don't delete comments, except for the ones that I mentioned about Bitcoin. And I think YouTube sometimes doesn't even delete comments until it's overly heinous. So it could be that, and it depends exactly on how bad the comment was. I even left that comment, which is completely negative towards me. I left it on the channel. I haven't deleted it. And I took a screenshot of it just in case the person decides to delete it afterwards, because then they're going to say that I'm deleting it, and that's not the case. I do not delete comments. I have no need to delete comments because comments help the channel. And unless you're insulting my family, which in that case, of course, I would have to remove your comment, I have no need to remove the comments. It just makes no sense to think that I'm deleting comments, because I like everyone having the information that you need readily available. I don't even know what kind of comments the person left, but I saw that there was another comment that I'm assuming is from the same person, because even the defense for the comment that was originally put there was similar to that one. And the other person, it was a comment saying about how in Facebook groups they're deleting comments. And I'm like, I didn't delete it. And it's there because it even says in the screenshot that I have 9 days ago. I have no need to delete the comments. It makes no sense for me to delete comments because, like I said, they help the channel. And as long as they're not insulting me or they're not crypto farming schemes, it's like I have no need to delete them. YouTube has a filter, like Netfreak is saying over here, YouTube is filtering comments. Yes, YouTube filters them. Sometimes there are comments that have forbidden words. Like if you say a word like the F word, I think, and the channel has like moderation, then it'll be deleted. If it has like a slur or something terrible there, it could be deleted. There are some cases where there are specific phrases, or because you use an emoji, the comment can be deleted. There are people in the comment section who report your comment if it's too spicy, let's just say. And in that case, it can also be deleted. So really, there's a lot of ways that a comment can be deleted, but most of the time I won't have the time to go into a comment unless I see that it's overly offensive towards me, my family, or someone specific. I don't know, or something specific like, oh, F, da, da, da. Like, that's the only reason a comment that I know of that I would actually take the time to go in and delete it. Because why would I allow someone to insult me? Or my family, even worse. But if it's just a comment that's saying that they don't like a situation, if something is bad, they notice something in something else, like, as long as it's not directly insulting them, then it's okay, because I have channel guidelines that people have to follow for that. So it's like, that's just the way it is. Okay, so I wanted to cover that because it had been on my mind, and I was like, I want to reply to the comment, but even the person was saying, oh, Ace isn't replying, so it must be true. I don't reply because I don't have the time. And in order for me to give a detailed reply, I'd have to be sure that it's going to be recepted correctly. And what would happen if I reply to that comment and then it's deleted, and then the person decides to delete it? Then it would be the same thing as nothing. So I'd rather say it here on stream where you guys see me, it's live. I don't have to hide behind a random YouTube post, comment, or something. I don't know. It's me. And here I am telling you that I don't delete comments that really don't need to be deleted. Anyways. Oh, and also another thing that might happen sometimes on live, like I said, there's the live replay. So if in the live replay, like your comment, you leave a comment in the live replay, when the video is done and it's uploaded as a normal video, the live stream is done and it's uploaded as a video, like just a normal video that you can rewatch whenever. Sometimes you won't see the live replay. So your comment, it's not deleted. It's just you won't see it, if that's the case. Don, brother, gotta go, brother. Beer time. Let me know what day I can come see you, brother. You're free to come any day. Just let me know ahead of time so that we can coordinate. I think the best day would probably be Wednesday. That would be the ideal day after 2 o'clock. So if you happen to be here on Wednesday, I'll see you then. Okay, but going back to the comments, because I missed a lot of them. Okay, a comment from Ramon. GM, I have been visiting Ecuador since 2019 and fell in love with, traveled almost half of Ecuador. What's your opinion of Santa Elena? I think it's really nice. Just the problem is I haven't been there, I think, in a while at this point. So I don't know what the situation is like right now. If you want, I don't know if you saw my travel video, but we passed by a few beaches there, and you can get a view of some of the things that we saw over there. Let's see here. Beyond Borders, creators on YouTube and other sites, they are not exempt from danger. Like reporters, they're targets for saying too much. It can be scary. Daniel, Ace, try laying flat on your back for about 60 seconds. 3 times, it might realign it and relieve the pain. You could also do dead hangs from a pull-up bar. Just hang your full body weight on it for 20 secs. I'll give it a try. I don't know why. It's just been really weird, and I've been taking medicine to feel a little bit better. I feel like it's a combination of stress, and maybe one day that I was doing exercise, I might have done it while I was still kind of cold, so I might have hurt myself. But it was mainly over here, which when I talked to the nurse at the school that I'm working at, she said that that's typically the place where you feel pain because of stress. So I was like, okay, maybe. Patricia, please don't feel bad about not replying to comments. I comment on your videos just to help boost you in the algorithm. Love you, Patricia. Thank you so much. Pepe, has there been a genuine spike in deadly traffic accident? Or is it a social media campaign or other? I can't say that there's been a spike in traffic accidents. That just feels like here you're prone to a traffic accident no matter what, because people don't drive well here. Especially in the coast. In the highlands, it's a little bit safer because there's a lot more regulation and a lot more control. But over here, because of the lack of control and respect for the rules, there do seem to be a lot of accidents. Let's see here. I see Danny's comment about ELT, which they had mentioned earlier as well. Then you can get a job and you make 3 times more. God, I wish. The only problem is getting a job at a university too. Change to live chat or go to another phone with the channel to see if you were blocked or hidden. Netfreak, for your information, YouTube is filtering comments. I wouldn't be surprised. And it's normal because YouTube does make sure that negative comments are filtered out. Ace, by now everyone knows you are a decent guy and you do not need to explain yourself to that dude. It was just in case, because I saw that some people had commented and I wanted to be sure that everyone knew that that was actually the case. YouTube deletes automatically some comments. It has happened to me a few times and I wasn't saying anything bad at all. It's weird. YouTube has its moments. That's why I don't try to like think about it too much. But since it was a repeat comment, if the person says that again, I'll just ignore it. Because honestly, it's like you try to do things right, and even when you try to do things right, someone still looks at it in a wrong way. So if that's the way they want to look at it, I mean, I guess there really is nothing else that you can do. Magic, don't let the detractors get you. People always will have something to say no matter what you do. Lewis, just this week I read an article newspaper stating that many people from the coast are moving to Cuenca mainly for safety reasons and of course better life quality, which may increase the prices here. If there's a flood of people going to Cuenca, I wouldn't be surprised. Patricia, someone insulted my lawn in a video I uploaded, but that was the worst comment I've had so far. I thank them for watching and commenting. Yeah, a lot of the YouTube education tells you that if someone says something mean, you just say thank you and you keep going. Because at the end of the day, it's all interaction. It's the algorithm, so it helps. And it's like, either way, everyone's going to have their opinion. So unless, like I said, they're insulting your family or something or doing something really mean, like really, really mean, it's like, you let it go. Let's see here. I was in Kumbaya 2 weeks ago, and it's just full of gated communities, so you could say it's safe. But it has a price, and I don't really like the feeling of having to live in a gated community. I don't mind living in a gated community. I don't live in one right now, technically, because my house does have like a gate, but it's not a gated community. But it's like the price is what would hurt me. I know I can't, but I feel like someone who comes from a different country, as long as they're not coming to escape heavy prices from another country, like if they're coming with a decent amount of money, investing in a gated community for your safety, not a bad idea. However, Kumbaya is a university neighborhood, so you have good activity during the day, and it seems to have a good nightlife, bars, discos, etc. What are people using to do couch surfing or short term in Ecuador now? I'm not sure I understand the question. Can you reiterate? Like, let me understand. As of July 1st, Ecuador started asking for visas only to Chinese citizens. Thank you for clearing that up, Louis. There are other countries that require a tourist visa to come to Ecuador, but that is since a long time ago, and now they can apply for the tourist visa online. Papicho, couple of shots of brandy works the same as muscle relaxers. I don't drink. For me, this is my go-to. And today, I said I was gonna shout out Stephen LaShawn from Living Loving Abroad. I remember they recommended this in one of their videos, which is a bag of chips, lime limon from Monterrojo. I bought these. I've been feeling kind of like, aside from physically bad, I've been kind of sad these days. So I wanted to buy myself something to feel a little bit happy, like a treat. So I bought these. And they're going to be a part of my video also, just the fact that I bought them because it's an expense that I had for this month. So I bought them. I'm going to try them out. I'll try them on stream right now so that you can hear my live reaction. I did want to tell you, if you haven't been to Ecuador, let me switch the channel view over here to the just chatting scene. In Ecuador, the products that they sell over here, they have this little like traffic signal that if it's red, that means it has a lot of that. If it's yellow, it means it has a medium amount. And if it's green, it has a low amount. And of course, if it's none, it won't have any colors. So this bag is high in fat, high in salt, but it has no sugar. So it's this bag of chips. I wanted to try them out. They're apparently vegan, no gluten, gluten-free, and 100% Colombian potato. So yeah, I wanted to try them out. I'll try them out in a second. I did want to read the chat really quick. There's so much to talk about Cuenca that I'm going to have to visit the next time I'm there, but I'm really an ocean person as opposed to rivers. You could try coming around to the coast and seeing how things are over here, It's not like 100% safe, but if you have like, if you're in a group, you're with people, someone is taking you around, showing you around, you could be fine. Ramon, I'm planning on building a house in a gated community. Awesome. I hope it goes well, and I hope you have an excellent house. To your liking, of course. Lime-flavored chips are awesome. You're tempting me. And Al, big thumbs up to Al. So let's see. You guys are saying they're really good. So let's see what they're like. I've never had. I'm afraid that this bag is about to explode. Okay, no, it didn't. They smell nice. They smell like chips. They kind of have the look of Lay's. Like, if you know what the normal Lay's are like, they feel like they look like Lay's. Um, hmm, hmm. Yeah, those are really good. Living Loving Abroad, Steve and LaShawn, excellent recommendation. I like them. And I remember when I was in Supermaxi, because I bought these at Supermaxi, because that was where they said you can find them. There were others, like this is lime, but there were also some that were barbecue and other flavors as well. So if these are good, I feel like those are good too. The only problem for me personally is that these cost like around $2, and for me that's kind of expensive. Well, if you compare it to other chips, like I've seen bags of Doritos that cost like the big bags, big, but of course they're like this big, like over here. They cost like almost $4. I guess size, but they're good. And like I said, a little treat because I've been kind of down. The stress from work and some personal things is just kind of brought me down a bit. Daniel, unlike the US, no muchos gorditos in Ecuador. Comida is good for health there. Most of the time. Just be careful with the chocolate. It can be very deceiving. The chocolate can really fill you up. Not only that, but when you eat things with like remember, all meals come with rice, like the majority. So you're constantly being filled with carbohydrates. So that can be kind of unhealthy as well. Carla, I've been to Manta and the Highlands, really didn't have much interest in Cuenca, but since I've heard so much about it, I'm going to break down and visit. Yeah, give it a shot. Like go around, see what it feels like, get a feel for it. And then afterwards, if you don't like it, either way, you already have other places in mind. I kind of want to go to some more of the beach cities. Like when I was in Montañita for my video, like I passed some of the other beach cities, and I'm really interested in going to Olón because I've heard really good things about it. So I'm curious. I'm really curious about visiting and seeing what it's like. I know it's not like places. They're not places that I would want to go there to stay forever, but they're definitely places I would like to visit. And I wouldn't stay forever because, like I said earlier, my main places are Cuenca, Quito, and maybe Ibarra because I like cold places. I want fresh temperature because living in this hot environment, like I've noticed that if I weren't feeling so hot, like I wouldn't be sweating all the time and I could like wear clothing that's a little bit like, longer sleeved. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm overthinking the heat, but I really sometimes don't feel good with the heat over here. Um, Botanic, hello. I'm planning on building a castle in a jungle community. Oh wow, that would be pretty crazy. Um, Al, I can fly to Manta from Panama City as pensional for $87, Balboa's one way. So if I go to Ecuador, that is the only spot I would go. You should definitely go so you can visit Don. That would be great. That is a Spider-Man costume. And I think as long as you're at home, you can have as much clothes on as you want. I've been wanting to make a video with that again, but like maybe in an event. I don't know. I've just been unsure. If I were to get a costume right now, one of the main ones that I want is a costume of Wolverine because I've always thought Wolverine is one of my favorite characters, and I think the claws would look really cool. And I also like the idea of Luffy from One Piece. So those are my thoughts, Carla, I'm not a fan of the heat. Too bad I can't have the ocean and cooler temperatures together. Unfortunately, the ocean does typically mean you're in a place that's going to be really hot because the sun is going to beam down on you. And Botanic is definitely the new Tarzan. I'm almost sure of it. Man, these chips are good. The best / worst part is that it has an aftertaste of the lemon. So like you finish eating it and you want to eat another one because you can still feel the taste. Ramon, man, Quito is so cold for me. Alcubo, nice. Hope so. Tarzanic. We now dub you Tarzanic. May you swing through the jungle in peace. Daniel, funny story, but even the thugs in my country, we call them roadmen, will wear hoodies and zipped up jackets to disguise themselves in blazing heat too. Lol. Man, I don't see how someone could do that. That's like asking for a heat stroke. Bernard, how's it going? My wife and I are planning to move to Alon in October. We'll make sure to get a 2-bedroom so you can crash. I appreciate it. I would definitely love to go check it out. Now I know who I get to visit in October. Right before Halloween, too. What's the name of those chips? Chips are my kryptonite. Oh, then you might not want to know the name of the chips. Okay, no. Let me show you. They're called, the brand is Monte Rojo. Monte Rojo. It says gourmet, and it just says papas, which are like potatoes, and lime, lemon. Other way, I'll write the name in the chat so that everyone can see. Let me see here. Monte Rojo. Yeah, literally, Red Mountain. If living near the ocean, then all you need is to go to the beach or pool during the day and only be inside in the evening. Yeah. You know, I find it kind of funny. Sometimes people here say, like, if you go to the beach and you go to a place with a pool, what's the point? Because you have the beach. But I actually like going to the pool. I think sometimes more than the beach. Like I have my moments where I'll enjoy going to the beach, like if we want to have more fun, like with more area. But sometimes I just like being in the pool because like you don't get sand in your shorts or anything like that. So it feels really nice. Is that a Colombian brand? It does say on the very bottom, proudly, I don't know if you can see that, proudly made in Colombia. It literally says proudly made in Colombia. And like I said up here, it says 100% Colombiana, 100% Colombian. Limon chips, a lot better than I would have thought. Did anyone just hear a beep? Let's see here. Yes, me too. Carla, I never go to the pool unless I'm doing water aerobics. Jesus, I have seen them here in Panama. I like going to swim, you know, getting a little bit of back exercise whenever I get a chance to go to a pool. Sometimes when I hang out with my friends, I'm hoping that these days I get to hang out sometime with my friends because I feel like I need to de-stress. Like hanging out with you guys today is really, really chilled me out a little bit. And it feels really good to be able to have a conversation with you guys. So thank you for being here, everyone. By the way, thank you for taking the time to spend some time with me here. Now I know that I will buy them. Yeah, go for it. They're really good. They're really, really good. There's weird stuff in the sea, and maybe some too. Sometimes but think about the pool. Like if the pool is not constantly cleaned, and you're swimming in the pool, and maybe some kids were in there, you never know if the pool is coming with some extra hydration. One of my concerns about going to pools. Beyond Borders, I just found some limon chips by Lay's. I think it's the same. I would think it's the same. Maybe. But maybe the quality is different. Because Lay's feels like it's more of a like name brand, generic, not generic, but like mass produced. And here it feels like more of a, native, kind of smaller indie brand. I don't know. And Bernard, really? Several beaches in the Northeast are closed because of Popo. Ugh. Tarzanic. Think 4 people got munched by sharks in the USA on 4th of July. All survived, I believe. I hope so. I did hear recently from Philip DeFranco, maybe like a week ago, that sharks had actually attacked people recently. And I was surprised because I had not too long ago heard that sharks weren't really all that aggressive. They're just provoked. Maybe they were having lemonade and the sharks wanted limon crunch. Even the sharks were thirsty. And that's considering they live in water. Well, they live in salt water, so you can't say that's actually the good type of water that you would want to have. Those Lay's chips are delicious. Don't tempt me. I can't even find those over here. You know what's sad? Over here, you can't get baked Lay's. Not the good ones. Like, there's some Lay's that I think they say like they're baked, but they're not like the ones I used to eat in the States. We have a funny UK meme called Roadmen on Holiday, and it's them in a swimming pool wearing black hoodies and jackets with ski masks. Is that really a thing? Ramon, don't like pools too much. One time went to a resort with a bar in the pool and noticed no one went to the bathroom. Ah, man. That has to suck. Much sharks on Ecuador coast from UK, or should say UCAC? Sewage in all water. I haven't seen sharks ever on the coast, but of course I don't constantly go to the beach to be able to give an opinion on that. Baked Lays are a waste of calories. Maybe. I just remember they were one of my favorite snacks when I lived in the States. Baked Lays and hot fries. I really love hot fries. You can't buy them over here, but I would love to have some bags of hot fries. There are a lot of things I would love to have. That's why I'm going to try to make... I do have this video, like I said before, planned. I just don't know if I'll be able to make it now, where I'm going to test out like delivery services. A little bit of a spoiler for everyone who stuck around for the rest of this stream, and we're just here in chill talk mode. Oh, come on, Ace. The potatoes in Hispanoamerica are tastier and healthier than... Oh, without a doubt. It's just I remember having the baked Lays, and they were just really good. But over here, they have Lays too. And the Lays that I remember tasting that were supposedly of the baked kind, I don't know if it's the same kind of baked Lays because they don't taste the same. And I don't think I don't know if that just means they're not exactly baked Lays, and they're just a different kind of like Lays. I used the keto address on Amazon to see if I could order baked Lays after I first started listening to your channel. They had a notice that this item is not available for shipment to Ecuador. Sad. Carla, I'll try to remember to bring you some hot fries when I come. I'll give them to your buddy Don. Thank you, Carla. I would love that. Yeah, I had a feeling it was they, not RJ. Luisana, Spanish, please. Un poquito español, pero más inglés. A little bit of Spanish, but more English. Ike, what's the emergency? The emergency, basically, there's just another state of emergency. I talked about it earlier, but I already closed the tab. It's just another state of emergency that's on the coast because there's been a lack of a decrease in crime. Because I can't say there's been an increase, it just hasn't gone down, and it's kind of out of control. Let you know if I'd be close to Puerto Viejo. Bring a couple bags of hot fries. I would appreciate that. Net freak, Ace, you are a health freak. Stay away from chips. You're right. But the thing is, I always tell everyone when I deal with my health, I like to be excessive a bit because I do fasting and I try to eat as little carbs as possible with exceptions. But I like to have these exceptions because if I'm super stressful with my diet, with the way that I eat, then I think the stress is going to hurt me more than actually eating the things. Like if you're craving a bag of lime chips one day and you're like, oh, but today I had to fast, eat the bag, eat a bag of lime chips, and then the next day you do your fast and everything is okay. Al said, sorry, Luisana, pero yo soy bilingüe. Yo también soy bilingüe. Let's see here. Not kidding. I'm getting better with my Spanish. La práctica hace el maestro. Practice makes perfect. Daniel, does Ace eat flaming hot Cheetos? Indeed, I do. But I prefer hot fries over hot Cheetos. But they're both excellent. Is that near Olon? Thanks, just signed on, went for ramen. Anywhere that's coast. Just think of all the coastal cities and keep in mind the possibility of the state of emergency. It's basically just an increase of military presence, so it's actually a good thing in some cases. Sam 2, gotta go. See you round days. Have a good weekend. Have an excellent weekend, Sam. I hope everything goes well for you. And if you come over here, perfect. Personally, I think we've done enough. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Se lo quiere. Gracias. I don't know how to say, like, love you guys too. I'm not sure what you're talking about. All right, guys. So if there's no more questions, if there's nothing else you'd like to talk about for today, I guess we can go. Remember these chips. Thank you again to Living Loving Abroad for this suggestion. Take care, Netfreak. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, and I hope everything else goes well for you. Ramon, bueno me voy. Take care also. All right, so I guess we'll leave everything here for now. Everyone, have an excellent rest of your Sunday. I would say weekend, because there's still some time to enjoy the weekend. Have an excellent week, and I will see everyone probably in 2 weeks. 2 semanas. No sé muy bien qué es mi Genesis. We'll talk about that later. You just got a subscriber. I was just scrolling. I appreciate it. Thank you, Julieta. Douglas, thank you for being here. Al, have an excellent rest of your day. Magic, appreciate the dono. Beyond Borders, have an excellent day. I hope everyone does well. And I hope that you guys eat well. Maybe not chips, but eat well, please. All right. Take care. And as always, Ace out. Do, 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 do.